What I love is we've got years of deep, immersive games that have been built for Xbox. We've done the work this generation through backward compatibility to bring many of those games to the current generation, and now we're seeing those great characters and stories and worlds show up on devices for the first time, and frankly to customers that are probably never going to own a console.
What is going on, guys? It's Dealer here, back again talking about Project Xcloud with a brand new interview featuring Microsoft employees, but notably Phil Spencer himself. Now in this video, by fortune, that I will link down below is the source material, Phil Spencer and company go into detail on Project Xcloud. Again, they just kind of clarify some things. They're trying to drill into people's heads how easily this is going to work, the technology behind the technology. They confirm yet again that this will be available at least in some kind of beta form this October 2019. It's worth noting, and I get this question all of the time, how are they going to get Xcloud to us? How are we going to have access to it? How much will it cost? I've heard several different places, and I've heard behind the scenes as well, that this will likely be linked to something like Game Pass Ultimate. Now, before the fearmongering begins, there's no word or rumor of any kind of price hike as of right now. It will be in addition to what Xbox Game Pass or Game Pass Ultimate offers now. Much like PlayStation Now, you'll be able to play games where they are installable natively and stream those games that are not installable on devices that cannot handle those locally powered games. These games will feature cross-save. They will feature cross-play. So you could potentially get off of the bus, sit down in front of your Xbox, pick up right where you left off on something like Sea of Thieves. But again, just know this could be linked to Game Pass subscriptions, just an additional layer of functionality of the service, which is kind of crazy because it's already such a ridiculous deal. But hey, if you want to know more and keep up with the latest and greatest in console gaming news, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, maybe share this where you share things. So let's get into it.
To have success at a global scale with the level of ambition that we have at Microsoft, you really need content, a community, and a cloud.
How do you explain the gaming cloud to someone when they ask you that? What does that even mean?
We are building Project Xcloud, which is the technology behind our entry into game streaming. We've been building consoles for years. We built a lot of them. We have some skill at that, and what we've done is we've taken the core innards of an Xbox One S and we figured out how can we transform that into something that's more suitable for the data center. It used to be like a world where games were a product, where you would get a development team together, you would develop a game, you would write it, you would package it in cellophane, you would print it on discs, and then you would ship it to the stores. And your relationship with your customer kind of ended at that point.
Like Microsoft Office in the past, right?
Yeah, I mean, like the history of software has really kind of followed a similar arc. So we used to live in a world of games as a product, and then we evolved to games as a service, where you're constantly updating, you're interacting with your consumer base, you're understanding what they're doing. All the products that we work on here, we have this progression of testing. It always starts with the immediate internal team working on the technology, trying it out.
What am I looking at over here?
This is one of our latest hardware designs. This is the hardware that we are actively deploying in 13 regions around the world today. This is a 2U rack with 8 Xbox One S's inside of it. When you're streaming on Project Xcloud, this is the hardware you are running from. This is a complete console, and the games that were designed for the console run with 100% compatibility on this hardware.
Streaming is not a solution for everybody to play tomorrow. We build Xcloud for the next decade. Like, I think about it that way. First, expanding the capabilities of our existing customers, but in the long run, this is about reaching more of the planet who wants to play those great games that our partners build.
How are you formulating the business model of this too, of Xcloud? This is everyone's question, how is this actually going to feasibly work?
I don't think there's one business model. I think streaming is a way to distribute content. I think there's a way to acquire content, whether I'm acquiring it through a subscription or I'm acquiring it to own, or it's a free-to-play game that has more of a post-sale monetization. I don't think there's one business model with streaming. I think you decouple those two things. Streaming is a way to distribute content to as many people on the planet who want to play games as possible. And there are multiple business models, which is really a strength for gaming, that are working at scale today. Retail's doing incredibly well. Subscriptions are becoming more and more part of the ecosystem, and free-to-play, and Fortnite, Apex, you see massive games doing well there as well. So in order for streaming to work in the long run, it has to support the diversity of business models that we see in gaming.
Does it seem like the focal point right now is let's do stuff on the phone? It's like the easiest sort of entry point to where we want to do this cost prep.
I wouldn't say it's the easiest. It is the most pervasive, obviously, when you just think about, okay, the number of Android phones. And maybe it's the most constrained. So if you say, I'm building my game for a 60-inch OLED hanging on a wall,
right?
And okay, there's going to be a tablet, a 10-inch tablet down to a small cell phone. Like, I want to see what it looks like on that screen in terms of brightness, in terms of responsiveness. How does control feel in that environment? Because anything that's bigger feels like, okay, it's closer to the scenario that this thing was designed for.
Sure.
What I love is we've got years of deep immersive games that have been built for Xbox. We've done the work this generation through backward compatibility to bring many of those games to the current generation, and now we're seeing those great characters and stories and worlds show up on devices for the first time, and frankly to customers that are probably never going to own a console, but they will be able to experience those games on the device that they already have. I think that's just a good thing for gaming.
So, Phil and company dropping the common sense bombs upon those that are in denial or just don't understand how this is going to work. In fact, I've heard many people say that once these games are everywhere, the Xbox console will sell less than ever because it is just not needed. And this will all happen because games will no longer come to the Xbox because they are everywhere else. And I've said this in podcasts before. Think about it. Bringing games to mobile devices via Xcloud. How do games get onto Xcloud? They are developed for Xbox One. This is actually how they've achieved 100% compatibility. Games have to run on the Xbox One blades to run on Xcloud, therefore incentivizing more games to come to the platform, not less. This is something that people tend to forget. Xcloud will bring more developers than ever to the platform, given that once you have access to the Xbox One, you unlock the full capability of Xcloud, and through that you have access to its broad appeal. Remember, any 4G device, any device capable of receiving Wi-Fi, that is a potential customer. And at the very least, you are looking at 100 million new customers that way. Their goal is much more than this. I am more than lowballing this. So again, that kind of user base draws big talent. It draws third-party games. And games that traditionally may not have sold very well on the Xbox platform here in the States might catch fire in other territories where Xbox consoles are not even available to buy, all thanks to something like Xcloud. It's also really cool to get another look at these new Xbox One S blades. They are in over 13 territories as of right now. And again, at the end there, they do confirm October 2019. That will be available for people to actually try out. It was really cool to see the latest version of the server blades as well. They can stack up to 8 systems in one blade. It's really fascinating. No cooling or anything like that needed for the actual chips. All that cooling comes through the server racks themselves. And when you play a game, it is coming from one of these chips. It is coming from a real Xbox in the server rack. So Microsoft seemingly ensure that even more games will come to Xbox One through Xcloud itself. Brilliant idea. They are more profitable than they've ever been when it comes to their gaming division, which would not matter, as I've said before, unless we've seen that they are reinvesting that into games themselves, which they have shown us by over doubling their studios and hiring some crazy talent. So again, optimism, it's a good thing. Not everything is doom and gloom. Let me know how optimistic or non-optimistic you are down in the comment section down below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, maybe learn something today, and of course, if you get a second, maybe share this with a buddy or two, and if you're new, subscribe. By the way, this is Gears of War 5 beta test or tech test footage. It's running on the Xbox One X, and if you think this looks bad, if you think this looks like a PS3 game, that's kind of weird to me, and you may want to turn your TV on so you can see what I'm talking about. Game looks absolutely fantastic, runs at 60 FPS and multiplayer and single player, and I'm confident that when the single player is shown, that will be the mode people are taking pictures of, as they are with all of these other games they're trying to compare Gears 5 against. It's only natural to compare Gears 5 campaign to another game's campaign that you may be hyping up, right? I'm a fan of a lot of these games, but I think it's sad when people have to try to smash something like Gears 5 into the ground, damn well knowing that Microsoft really need big blockbuster AAA titles like this. You should be incentivizing this kind of stuff, not hammering it into the ground over stuff that's is ridiculous. I want big games like this. I want more of them. So when they do a good job and they deliver, even if it is just another Gears of War to some of you who have no clue what these games even play like, I'm still going to be very happy about it, and I'm going to ask them for more bigger budget AAA games on top of it. And that's my right as an Xbox fan. Ask for more. They seem to be delivering. Unfortunately, it's taking some time, but Gears 5 is that step in the right direction, and that campaign is going to be nuts. So again, let me know what you think about this beta. It does run again this weekend, and I'll see you guys online. I'm Dealer. I'm out.